Hey guys, my name's Caitlin Church and I'm the owner of College Girl Crochet, where I sell my handmade crochet items. Today I'm going to be showing you a tutorial on how to make my bestseller, the Worry Worm. Super quick and easy. You don't need to be an advanced crocheter to make this. It only calls for beginner stitches, and you can really make them in any size, color even, and you can just really personalize it. Super good for back to school gifts, birthday gifts, graduation gifts even. Super cute, easy to make. So in this tutorial, what we're going to be doing is we start from the top of the head, crocheting in the round with the magic circle, and we're going to chain down and then work back up the chain to make these cute little spirals for the tail. Super quick and easy, like I said. It usually only takes me maybe an hour to make one of these, so I hope you like the tutorial. To start, some supplies that we will need for our worry worm is some stuffing. We won't need this much, but I just grabbed a little bundle of it because we are going to be creating a circular head and be stuffing that with some stuffing. A hook. For this project, I am using a 3.75 millimeter hook. You can go a little bit above that or a little bit below. It shouldn't affect the pattern too much, just due to it not being that much of a change in size. I'm going to be using a stitch marker, so I make sure I end on the right stitches, and then some safety eyes. I'm not exactly sure what size these are, but they are small, as you can see, compared to my pinky. They're pretty small. And of course, some eye backings to go along with the eyes. And then our yarn. I'm going to be doing it in a light colored yarn so it's easier to see the stitches. And then last but not least, of course, we will need our pattern. I have it typed out right here. I did create this pattern, so I tried to keep it as simple as possible because I wanted it to be a beginner pattern, but this is the pattern. And I will have each row that we're on written down on the screen below, like right in this area. Okay, so to begin our pattern, we are going to do 6 single crochet in a magic circle. I have how to do a magic circle and single crochets in a playlist on my channel. So we're going to start with our magic circle. Let's see here. Okay. And we are going to do, like I said, 6 single crochets in our magic circle. So we have, if I can get it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it should look like this, and then we're going to pull it tight. To have something that looks along the lines of this. All right, the next part says increase in each stitch around, so we're going to end up with 12 stitches. So let me count back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Let's see if I can get it in here. Sometimes the first one's super tight. There we go. So we're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch around. After I do my first single crochet in this first stitch, I'm going to take my stitch marker and place it in that single crochet I just made. So that's 1, another one in that same hole, so that's 1 increase, and to the next single crochet, that's 1 single crochet, another one in that same hole, so that's 2 increases. So we're going to do 6 increase stitches to give us a total of 12 stitches. I'll do another one for you. The next single crochet, we're going to do 1 single crochet, go back in that same hole, do another single crochet. So that makes that 2 single crochets in 1 hole. Next one, 1, 2 in 1 hole. Next one, 1, go back in, 2. Next one, 1, go back in, 2. Then I always like to recount my stitches after I finish the round just to make sure that I have done enough of the stitches and done it correctly. So we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. You should end up with 12. If not, go back to the beginning and redo it because you might have just forgotten to do an increase in one of the stitches, or maybe you increased too much in one of the stitches. So after we have our increase round, we are going to single crochet in each stitch around. So we should have a total of 12 stitches after this round. I'm going to take my stitch marker out and single crochet in that first stitch. Then I'm going to replace it in the single crochet I just made. Then I'm going to continue single crocheting around the whole round. So next stitch, I'm going to just do 1 single crochet in it. Then move on to the next stitch, 1 single crochet. And keep doing that all the way until you get back to this stitch marker, and I'll meet it back up with you there. Okay, now that we've finished that 3rd row of just single crocheting around, I'm going to count again just to make sure. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to remove my stitch marker, single crochet in that first one, add my stitch marker back into the single crochet I just made. Oh. All right, and then for our 4th row, we are going to single crochet around, all the way around again. So we should end up still with 12 stitches all the way around. So I'll show you a couple. So next hole, we're going to go in, pull through, single crochet, do it again in the next one, single crochet, and we're going to do that all the way around, and I'll meet back up with you. Okay, after we have single crocheted all the way around, I'm going to count again just to make sure I have the correct number of stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's correct. I'm going to make sure I keep pulling this tight because, as you can see, mine started to have a little hole right here. What we're going to do is I'm going to flip mine inside out. So the tail from where we started is on the inside of this little dome shape that we've made so far. So after that, we are going to pull this out a little bit just so we don't lose it. I'm going to set this down. We're going to insert our eyes. I have them right here. And usually I place my eyes 3 to 4 stitches apart between rows 3 and 4. So if you look up at the circle, you can see where we started in this first circle right here. I'm going to count down. So that's 1, 2, 3. So this is row 3, and this is row 4 that we just did. So I'm going to place my eyes between row 3 and 4, just in any of these little holes, push it through. And I usually do 3 to 4 stitches apart, and you can see the little holes. I count those. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to place it on the 4th hole away. So it's going to look like this. Then I'm going to kind of turn it inside out so they're pointed outwards. And I'm going to put the backs on. If you've never put on backings, I do the biggest side to the eye, if that makes sense. So the smallest side is going to be on the end side here. So we're going to push these in. Sometimes they're hard to really push if they're small. You kind of have to push them on a table to get them all the way in. Let's see. Okay, there's one. It's going to look something like this. And we're going to do the other one. Let me push it on the table here. Oh, this one's hard. Let's see. All right. Just make sure you push it really far in to make sure it's secure. Okay. Then after that's secure, we're going to fold it back so the right side is on the outside. Oh, there's my loop. Okay. And it's going to kind of look like this on the inside. What I like to do now is if this is really long of a tail, the one we started with, we can take our scissors and kind of trim it a little bit. Put that aside. And then with this tail, we can kind of shove in there up under the eyes so it'll stay out of our way. And we're just going to leave that in there for when we stuff it. It'll also act as a form of stuffing. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to reinsert my hook into this loop and pull this so it becomes tight again. And what we're going to do is decrease single crochet repeated around the whole round. So we're going to go decrease single crochet until we come back to the very beginning. So I'm going to remove my stitch marker. I'm going to begin to decrease right here. Go in that stitch, pull through, in the next stitch, pull the yarn through, and then pull the yarn through all 3 of those stitches. And then I'm going to hold my hook and reinsert my stitch marker into this stitch we just made behind the hook. There we go. So since we just did a decrease, we're going to single crochet in the next stitch. Then we're going to repeat that again. So another decrease. And then a single crochet. I'll show you again. Another decrease. And then a single crochet. I'll show you all one more time. A decrease. And then a single crochet. So at the end of this round, you should have only 8 stitches. So I'm going to count just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I did that correctly. And now is when I like to kind of pull my hook out again, move this out of the way, and stuff the head a little. You want to stuff the head enough to be firm and keep its shape when it's pushed, but not so hard that the stuffing is pushing through the stitches. So I'm going to take a little bit of my stuffing, kind of fluff it out a little bit, get some air into it, and I'm going to start pushing it into the head here. And like I said, this is not going to take a lot of stuffing at all because it is such a small little ball that we're working with. But I am going to fit just a little bit more in there just to make sure it keeps its shape. Sometimes what makes it easier is if you take the back of your hook And you can really kind of push it up in the nooks and crannies there, behind the eye pegs. And looks like I can fit a little bit more in there without it being too much. So I'm gonna stuff some up in there. Okay, so that looks good. Like I said, you want it to be firm enough to kind of keep that ball shape, but still pushable, movable. Whoa! Just flew out on me. I'm gonna shove this back in there. Okay, so when we're done with stuffing the head, we are going to reinsert our hook again. And for this next round, we are going to decrease in each stitch around. So that's gonna cut our 8 stitch number in half. So we're gonna end up with 4 stitches at the end of this row. So I'm gonna take out my stitch marker. I'm gonna go in this first stitch, pull the yarn through. In the next stitch, pull the yarn through. So 3 loops. Pull the yarn all the way through to create a decrease. And then reinsert my stitch marker in that stitch we just made behind the hook. And then I'm going to do that again all the way around. So in one, in the next one, pull all the way through, then in one, in the next one. And it kind of starts getting a little bit harder as it gets smaller, but it is manageable. Pull through. And there is room for one more decrease right here, so we are going to do the decrease 4 times. I'm going to remove my stitch marker just because this is so small and this gets in the way a little bit, but I know I only need to do one more decrease. One, this next one, then pull all the way through. So there's our final decrease, and you can always recount to make sure that you only have 4 stitches. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4. So I did that correctly. And at this point, if you can tell, you can add a little bit more stuffing or need to. Now is the right time before we close this hole and start making the tail. I'm gonna leave mine how it is. So after you're done stuffing your finishing little bit or making these decreases, if you haven't taken your stitch marker out now, you take it out and you're gonna see there's this little hole right there. That we are going to go in the hole right across through this stitch. I can redo that and show y'all if y'all need to. I'm gonna take this out so we can see that little hole right here. That's our little opening to the head that we still need to close so the stuffing doesn't come out. We're going to go down in the hole just a little bit and through the stitch right across from it. So right through there. I'm gonna yarn over. This is the trickiest part of this whole thing. It's getting that yarn through both of these loops. I'll do it again just so y'all can see. If I can get my yarn back on. Okay, there we go. There's this little hole right here, right there in the middle. So I'm going to put my hook through that hole, go up under the stitch right across from it, yarn over and pull through both of the loops on my hook to create a slip stitch. You can pull it tight so it really closes that hole off, and so none of the stuffing is going to come out of this head. After we've done that, we are going to chain 31. So we're going to yarn over, pull through, chain 1, yarn over, pull through, chain 2, and we're going to do that repeatedly until we get 31 chains. and this is 31. So as we've done our last chain, it should look something like this. And now how we are going to make the tail curled, we are going to do 4 single crochets in each one of these chains. And the tail will start to look like a spiral. So we're going to start in the second chain from the hook. So this one right here, insert in, grab the yarn, pull through, grab the yarn again, pull through both of those, and that's 1 single crochet. So we're going to go back in that same hole and do another single crochet, back in that same hole, do the 3rd single crochet, and then back in that same hole again and do our 4th and final single crochet in that one chain. I'll show y'all again. We're going to go into the next chain right here, insert it, pull through, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, and 4 single crochet. I'll show y'all one more time and then I'll speed through because y'all do not want to watch me do all of these. So this is the next chain right here. We're going to insert 1 single crochet, in the same hole go again, 2 single crochet, do it again, 3 single crochet, and go in the same hole again, 4 single crochet. So we're going to repeat that all the way back up for 30 chains. So all the way back up till this first head one right there at the base of the head. So do that all the way up and I'll meet back up with you. So now that we're back to the base of the head, your tail should, we'll fix it in a minute, but it should look kind of spiraled like this. Mine's a little tangled up right now. Let me see if I can fix it real quick. Okay, you can tell how it's like little ringlets. It's kind of spirally. I'm still on my last chain, so I have 1 more 4 single crochets to do in the last chain at the base of the neck right here. Let me do that real quick. Okay, once we finished our last chain, or increasing in our last chain at the base of the neck, we are going to take our yarn again and pull this through, and we're going to create kind of like a slip knot. We can cut this, and this is where we're going to tie off our yarn and kind of sew it through. So I'm going to take this loop and I'm going to pull my yarn all the way through, pull it tight so it creates a little knot right there, and then yeah, he is all twisted up. Let me fix him real quick so he looks decent. Hold on. Gotta go this way. Yeah, you can kind of like untwist him right here to make the curls sit on top of each other like this. But I'm going to take my thread. Let me get my yarn needle right here. I'm going to thread this into the needle. This is sometimes the tough part if the yarn has started to unravel. Push it through. Okay, so now that I have this threaded, make sure to pull that tight one more time. I usually try to put it back into the base of the head, like somewhere in this area, because it just kind of holds this curl up tight to the head. So I'm going to put it in like about right here, and I'm just going to push it, my needle, all the way across through the head to kind of pull it, and then we'll knot it on the other side. So pull that tight. See how it pulls it up against the head? Okay, so it came out right here. And this is where I'm going to put it through one of these little loops that I made earlier. See how I put it up under like one loop? I'm gonna kind of pull it through. And then before I pull this loop all the way through that I just made, I'm going to insert my yarn through that loop so it creates a slip knot, and that'll keep it real sturdy, and you can pull this tight. You can always do it again through the same loop if you feel like it's necessary, or you just want to double check that everything's gonna be tight. Let me see. Okay, got it through. Put it back through that loop of yarn, and then pull it tight. Okay, now what we're gonna do, kind of fix the head a little bit, I kind of squished them. We are going to take that and we're gonna put it through a stitch close to the knot. So it'll kind of pull the knot through the stitch and hide it a little bit, and just go through the other side of the head. So yeah, usually if you put your needle back in close to the knot, or even the hole that the knot is by, like right on, and you pull it, it'll pull the knot up in the head, so you can't even see it or feel where the knot was, but it's somewhere right in this area. I think it's right here, but you can't feel any difference. So then I'm just going to keep weaving. So it came out in this stitch, I'm going to put it back in the same stitch that it's out, but I'm going to just keep weaving around the head to really secure the yarn, to make sure there's no way it is going to come out. I'm going to do this a couple of times. Okay, and once we feel like you've weaved in your ends good enough, we can take this, cut that yarn. I like to pull the yarn off and then use the end of my needle to kind of push this little yarn tail back up into the head to hide it. Just kind of push it right back up in that stitch that it's coming out. Make sure it's pushed under there real good. And then you can reposition the head, you know, if it's looked a little squished, fix it and fix your spirals. And that is our worry worm. Okay guys, so thanks so much for making this cute little worry worm with me. You can see it better now. Give you up close. Very cute. These are perfect for back to school gifts, graduation gifts, even birthday gifts. I mean, they're just so cute and they're easy to make. You can do them in so many different colors, and it doesn't really call for that much supplies. So these are perfect to make, especially for beginners, because there's not too many advanced stitches that you need to make this. And so super cute, super easy. But thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave it in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Thanks so much, guys.